morning everyone, it's Carol at Oak House Journals. Lovely to have you with me. I've got my prompt list here for my Margarete Miller assignment for this week, and we're on assignment 47. And rather than start with the first prompt first, I'm going to do them in reverse order. So I'm going to start with the bonus prompt. So the bonus prompt is a game or puzzle piece. I've got some chess pieces here that I've printed off. Not sure which one I'm going to use, but I'd like to make use of this one. Penultimate prompt is graph paper, so I've got some vintage graph paper here that I've just taken out of an old book that I have. The next prompt, a musical symbol, so I've printed this out. Not quite sure how I'm going to work it in, but I'm sure I'll find a way. The next prompt is a famous city. No prizes for guessing which city I'm going to use, but this is the one I've chosen. So as you can see, I've printed out a silhouette and I'm going to be using that. The next prompt is block print or all capitals or all caps. And I thought that I would use my graph paper and print New York City on my graph paper. And the final prompt is something purple. So let me just move that to one side. This, as always, is my working background. Now, something purple, well, this was the front cover of, as you can see, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. Now, this was a structural survey report that we had commissioned for us, and this was the front cover. So I've done a bit of chopping and I'm going to be using that. So as always, my prompt's in front of me. I'm going to pull in my working background, and this actually will fit perfectly on here. I don't want this showing or this, so I could actually move it up and have it something like that and chop it off there and just hide that. But what I thought I'd do is maybe turn it sideways and have it like that, and find a way to get as much of this gorgeous sky in as possible and hide this. This I thought I would fussy cut, so I'm going to go away, trim this to size on either side here and fussy cut round my skyline there, and then I'll be back. I've trimmed this to size. I love this area here better than this, so I'm going to go with this side, and as you can see, I've trimmed it to within my working border. Still got this down here, and I still might trim some more off, don't know yet. So this I'm just going to pop to one side. I've also fussy cut this, and I hope you can see where the Statue of Liberty is. There's a line across it. Now, what I did after I trimmed the skyline was I went in with a black felt marker to try and mark up the white edges. It was very, very fiddly, so I ended up going all over the top of the skyline with a black felt tip pen. And actually, I think it defines it a bit better. I will apologise if there are any New Yorkers watching, because I've probably trimmed off some of your iconic features from your skyline in New York, but it was very, very fiddly, and have left a couple of little white dots where I think there are probably connecting walkways between buildings. So what I'm going to do is have that going across my piece, something like that. Now, I could have it lower down and use the Statue of Liberty down here to mask that writing, but I'm not going to do that because I may well trim this down a bit more in due course. So I'm going to have it something like that inside the border. What I'm going to do is leave the Statue of Liberty half and half, because I'm going to bring in one of these and replace the Statue of Liberty with one of these chess pieces. So I'm going to fussy cut that. I'm going to fussy cut the plinth as well. So I'm going to go away and do that now. So I've printed out New York, USA on my graph paper, and I've just glued this skyline above it. So I've got sort of a rough curve there. Also fussy cut my knight and my plinth. And what I thought I would do with the plinth is have it where the Statue of Liberty is, but drop this down so that it's slightly noticeable there. I'm hoping you can see. And then put my knight on top. By doing that, I'm hoping it's going to give me a little bit of elevation. Now you're seeing the white behind it from where I haven't inked the Statue of Liberty, and that's because I wasn't sure whether I was going to use it to reinforce this, and I think I will do. So what I'm going to do is just put some glue behind this plinth, just grabbing my tweezers. Not quite sure where I'm going with this one. I have a vague idea, but nothing concrete. And the bit that is giving me a little bit of concern is this. I'm not sure how that's going to work. So I'm just going to pop that in here. Now, as I've said before, I've got bits peeking out behind the plinth. I'm not bothered about that at the moment because I can trim those away, but it's reinforcing my plinth at the moment. And by having it drop down just below this curved line, it's actually making the eye go to that. I'm going to angle him some more and have him like that. That's going to work. Now, where this is going to sit on here, I'm not sure at the moment, but what I am going to do now is just trim away these white portions here. Now there is still some of the bottom of the Statue of Liberty, the black bit that I went in with felt tip pen, still showing. So I don't want to trim the plinth away higher up as yet. Well, I can trim this top piece off. I don't want to trim too much away because I might still have to raise my knight up a little bit more. I'm going to drop it down here, have him up here. Just a little bit of glue on the top of the plinth here, maybe a little bit on here. I've got this writing underneath here which I need to hide, and I'm wondering about ripping this on either side here so that I've got purple top and bottom. It is going to leave me with that bit there. Do a rough curve. Maybe something like that. Okay, fingers crossed everybody. I'm going to tear this away. I've decided on this orientation where the writing is off to one side, and I'm just going to rely on the fact that it's almost a continuation of the horizon and the skyline detail that I've got going on. I could trim it down even more if I wanted to, and I still may well do that and take it right to the edge of my ripped paper, but for now I'm just going to leave it like that. I have to decide how to get this in, and I really have no idea whatsoever. So what I thought I would do is dispense with the music lines and fussy cut this symbol here, the squiggly line on the left hand side, and this feature here, and see if I can randomly place them on here. As you can see, I've cut out that musical symbol and I've gone over it with my black felt tip pen as well, just so that it's as defined as the skyline here. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to glue it onto my background. Now I have trimmed it away very, very slightly on this side, so it is fractionally bigger than this, but not much at all, and the idea is to get rid of that black there. So I'm just going to bring in my glue book and put some glue on the back of this and get it onto my main working background. This I'm going to have on here like that. I'm going to rub out these pencil lines on either side. I'm going to put a little bit of glue all over the back here. I'm going to use glue stick for this bottom portion because even though this is graph paper and out of an old exercise book, it is still quite thin. And for the rest of it, I'm going to use art glitter glue. A little bit of glue onto the back of each of these buildings. And then very carefully just line this up on here if I can. There we go. And now I need to decide how I'm going to have these, and I did wonder about having it something like that, with this one obviously off to one side like this. positioned more or less like that. And I do like that, and it actually brings the eye down the piece and balances up that. So that's one option. The other option I've got is if I put this underneath the USA and have this straddling along the bottom, half on and half off my graph paper. Oof, and I don't know which one to choose, to be honest. Probably would bring that down just a little bit more, something like that, so that there's no graph paper showing between there. And looking at this again, I think I prefer the other option. I don't have the border here that I've got up there, and for that reason, if nothing else, it makes me want to go with the other option. So that's what I'm going to do. And there we go, everybody. That's my finished piece for this week. Sorry, shoving everything over to one side out of camera view. I've just got these here, so I'm just going to put them out of screen or off screen and bring in my prompts. So something purple. Well, I went with my RICS structural survey cover, which happened to be a beautiful purple cloudscape. So I've gone with that. Block print or all capitals. Well, I went with New York, USA to go underneath my skyline there. A famous city, well, as I say, New York. And I do have some little white bits here, which I've left because they were windows and I think bridges. So they are deliberate when you see those on the photographs in a moment or two. A music symbol, well, I've got this one here and I've got it oriented so that it's sideways on. Graph paper, I've got my piece here that I've printed on, and bonus, a game or puzzle piece. Well, I went with my knight on a plinth here to replace the Statue of Liberty. And again, apologies to any New Yorkers. I hope it doesn't offend you removing the Statue of Liberty and replacing it with a knight. Put it down to artistic license, if you will, please. So thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and as always, photographs at the end for you to have a look at. Until next week and assignment number 48. Bye bye now.